Let me ask you this. Wall Street Journal, big article. Democrats are worried. You keep reading. Democrats are in a state of panic. Democrats are in a state of panic. Something that we have covered at length on this program, and that is Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Now Democrats are saying it. And let me play you a clip of Joe and get your reaction to it. And then I'm going to butt it together with a different Joe. I called him the night after his State of the Union address, Jacked Up Joe. Maybe he had a lot of Red Bull or Monster Energy drink.
Or something.
Take a look.
I've been a senator since I was 29 years old. Never left government. The fall, he decided to, look, I shouldn't get into this probably. Never forget, America's the strongest when we lead not only by our example of our power, but by the power of our example. You can clap for that. As President Lincoln said, we'll never forget lying around.
Bro, these compies are pretty funny. Like, they really cook his ass, bro. It's crazy how they cook his ass like this.
And that's him lying around, actually. They're trying to erase black history. We're going to write black history because it's American history. On Memorial Day, I proudly stood with a black man.
Just checking this afternoon.
So most days you see Joe struggling. Now Democrats are saying it. But State of the Union, we saw a very different, in my view, Joe. Maybe just Red Bull. I don't know. I'm not going to make any allegations, but it certainly was not the normal Biden. How significant an issue is this?
Look, we are...
Because I don't think you could sit here and have this conversation.
Right. We're at the most dangerous point in the history of our country because of the power of weaponry, nuclear weapons in particular. Weapons that are so powerful and I've seen the effects. And I had an uncle, a great professor at MIT for many years. We used to talk about nuclear a lot. He understood nuclear very well. And even then, that was many years ago.
N-word.
My father's brother, Dr. John Trump. And I think he was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. I think 41 years, very smart. We used to talk about nuclear, and he used to talk about the power of nuclear, and I'd say, Uncle John, you're not. Where a briefcase, the size of a regular briefcase, would do damage that I don't even want to discuss. And
he doesn't even want to discuss
in terms of the advancement of that technology, and it's very bad, very scary. And I will tell you, we have a chance of going into World War III because of our leader. So I don't want to get into what state he's in. You know, it's in one way, it's not something for me to talk about. I can tell you this: President Xi of China, Putin, Kim Jong-un, all of these leaders are at the top of their game. Mentally, they're at the top of their game. And they're dealing with somebody that's not at the top of his game. And honestly, he never was. He was never the brightest bulb. And everybody understands that. Everybody knows that. You look at his foreign policy over the years.
I think he's not wrong when he says Biden was never the brightest bulb. But it is pretty funny that he's the one saying it. Because it's like, if there's one guy who is objectively just as bad, if not worse, like, it's Donald Trump. Like, it's just so funny for him to be like, he's not the brightest bulb, I am.
It was always wrong. You look at all of the things, you look at his crime bill in the 1990s, how horrible that was to certain groups of people. He was never great at what he did. He did it because he was hale and hearty and well met. A real problem. I love this country. I don't want to see this country get into a nuclear war and be so badly damaged. What we say won't matter. This won't matter. This place won't matter. Nothing will matter because practically nothing's going to be here anymore. The level of power, of power with the weapons and the weaponry, that's real weaponry. That's worse than the weaponry that we were talking about a little while ago. This is the ultimate. This is obliteration, maybe world obliteration. And we have a man that is not capable of even discussing it. He talked the other night about that nuclear doesn't matter so much. What matters is, think of this, global warming. The only global warming that matters to me is nuclear global warming, because that's the real deal. He said it's...
Oh, come on, bro. Yeah, global warming doesn't matter because I'm scared of a nuclear holocaust is crazy. I mean, the fears of a nuclear holocaust is definitely becoming more real by the moment. It's just that, you know, these dudes don't need to be conflicting interests, okay? The notion that, like, you can be fearful of one and not the other is really dumb.
An existential threat. He loves the words.
Yeah, record-breaking summer last year, looking to be the record-breaking summer this year too. Oh yeah.
Existential threat. That global warming is an existential threat.
HasanAbi's like, yes, climate change, tax the people, more hell yeah, we make a difference. I didn't say any of those things. You just made up an entire different framework and got mad about it. Like, are you okay? Yesterday, Chad was like, damn, he used doom nuclear war. Today, Chad is like, nuclear war, lule, it's not happening, delulu, lule. Bro is just envisioning a chat and a streamer for himself and typing to that chat and streamer in the chat. This is my favorite type of chatter, though. It is my favorite type of conservative in general. Is not one that like gets mad at the things that are coming out of your mouth. It's one that just basically envisions what you are saying and then gets mad at this hypothetical that they've cultivated in their mind. It's like, bro, you're not mad at me. You're mad at your own imagination.
And he doesn't know why. What is it? It's weather. And I'm all for that. You know what? I'm in a certain way, in a very powerful way, I'm an environmentalist. I want clean air, I want clean water. But this is not the existential threat. Tomorrow, we could have a war that will be so devastating that you can never recover from it. Nobody can. The whole world won't be able to recover from it. And he's talking about something in 400 years from now. The oceans will rise by 1/8 of an inch. Look, we have a man that shouldn't be doing this job. He's not qualified. He's not mentally sharp enough. And I don't believe he was 20 years ago either. You know, they can show me clips. Take a look.
Wait.
Powerful way. I'm an environmentalist. I want clean air. I want clean water. But this is not the existential threat.
I'm an environmentalist.
Tomorrow.
Bro, his EPA deregulations were so severe that even carbon polluters were like, dude, the normal carbon capture measures that we previously had in the process of fracking are so bad. GE and other like fossil fuel industry backed titans had to come out and be like, we have to do something about the lack of regulation in this field. Under the Trump administration, the EPA deregulation was so fucking severe that even other fossil fuel backed industries had to come out and be like, we have to do something about this. Like, it's getting to a point where maybe it's a little scary.
We could have a war that will be so devastating that you can never recover from it. Nobody can. The whole world won't be able to recover from it. And he's talking about something in 400 years from now. The oceans will rise by 1/8 of an inch. Look, we have a man that shouldn't be doing this job. He's not qualified. He's not mentally sharp enough. And I don't believe he was 20 years ago either. You know, they can show me clips. Take a look at the clips of how he did 20 years ago.
He's also the #1 anti-renewables guy. He thinks electric vehicles are gay and hates them. He personally thinks windmills are ugly, and therefore he hates windmills and will say, like, they kill birds. They're killing birds. It's a birdicide, folks. We can't have these windmills. He's even gone so far as to say wind turbines cause cancer and any number of different insane shit. Like, he's out of his mind, dude. It is the one area where Joe Biden, albeit not the environmental champion himself, his administration is lacking in many areas on that front too, is still seen as like a Greenpeace activist, okay? Donald Trump is so bad when it comes to the environment, so objectively bad that Joe Biden is basically a Greenpeace guy, okay? In comparison, it is the one area, there's no question, who is like not even marginally better, like significantly better. Right off the bat, just having an EPA in general as a federal agency, having the EPA have all of its appointments and have like competent people working there instead of like a polluter billionaire that he put there to just specifically gut it, puts Biden in the positive category on that front.
His level of hatred for me is incredible, but all I'm trying to do is lay out the facts. Lay out the facts. We have to have somebody that's sharp and strong. And Viktor Orban, who's a very strong kind of a guy, I guess. They call him a strong man. Oh, Trump likes, I don't like strong men or hate strong men. He's leading a country. He's a strong leader. He's the prime minister of Hungary. He said the only way we're going to solve the problems of the world, you got to bring Trump back. China was afraid of him. Russia was afraid of him. Look, I ended the Russian...
China was afraid of Viktor Orban? Russia was afraid of Viktor Orban? Oh, he means himself. Okay. I thought he was still talking about, he said he, so I assumed he wasn't talking about himself in the third person. Okay, my bad. I misunderstood.
pipeline, Nord Stream 2. Before I came in, even you, nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. I said, they're building Nord Stream 2. Everyone said, what is that? It's the biggest pipeline in the world going to Germany. So we're protecting Germany, and Germany's paying billions of dollars.
Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2 before me.
A month to Russia for energy. And I also said it's bad for Germany because if they ever do end up with a war, which they have many times, they'll turn off the juice and Germany doesn't have a chance. That's when I gave Angela Merkel a white flag. Do you remember? I sent over a white flag at a table. She said, what is it? That's the flag of surrender. So we need a president that's sharp and that's respected. And we're closer to World War III. Now,
Lily the Chaos God, Step Up 69, Miss Susie B, many different names, but it's all the same name. George Soros.
You take a look at what's happened in the last few days. Putin is now talking about nuclear weapons for the first time. I mean, he's talking about them all the time because Ukraine is now talking about hitting Russia. And Biden doesn't know what the hell to say, but all of these things, they're going to end up leading to World War III. I'll get the Ukrainian situation settled, and I'll get it settled fast. It would have never happened. The other thing that would have never happened is the October 7th attack of Israel. Would have never happened. And you know what else? I'll add something else that wouldn't have happened. Inflation. We have the worst inflation maybe in the history of our country. Far worse than they report.
There's 1.4%.
Because when you add interest rates and when you add energy prices, look at the energy. By the way, gasoline prices are going way up again. When you add all of this in, I think it's the worst inflation we've ever had. And our country has become, Sean, a failing nation.
You say declining nation.
I say declining or failing.
So let me go back to the foreign policy.
I say a lot of things about it, but it's whatever I say about it, it's real bad. I want to talk more about that. But
let me stay focused for just a second, if I may, on the issue of we have war in Europe, we have war in the Middle East. And we have the Iranians, according to reports, even the IAEA, may be very close to nuclear weapons. That should scare everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, how'd that happen, bro? How'd that happen? How did that happen? How? Who caused it? Who could be responsible? One of the two people in this room is directly responsible. I wonder who that guy is. Is it Sean Hannity? I can't seem to put my finger on who destroyed the signature foreign policy achievement of the previous administration, the Obama administration.
They're crazy enough that I think they would use them. And
there's nothing funnier than being like, Iran, they're crazy, man. They'll definitely use their nukes. Meanwhile, we're talking about Russia. We're talking about Israel, which also has nukes. The only nation that's crazy enough to use nukes on a civilian population is us, motherfucker. We're the only ones who used it. The fuck do you mean? Oh, everyone else is crazy enough to use it.
Precarious situation. More dangerous, I think, than at any point.
Most dangerous time in the history of our country.
I would agree. And so my question to you is, if you are elected and you are the next president, the 47th president, how do you begin the process of restoring world order? Now, one other thing. I never thought in my lifetime I would listen to a president.
I know we hate Trump, but isn't he right about the fact that he's more mentally capable of handling World War III than Biden is? No, just because he has more of his mental faculties in order in comparison to Biden, which is not a very high bar to clear, doesn't mean that he's going to handle World War III in a better way. The shit that he is saying as far as October 7 is hilarious because October 7 is Donald Trump, okay? His administration's actions is directly responsible for October 7, just like the Iran nuclearization. He is directly responsible for it.
Of our country, the leader of the free world, we'll support your defense, but we won't support you fighting back after the Iranians fired weapons into their country. Right. To me, that was a surrender in the war on terror, or trying to lecture Israel, oh, you can't go to Rafah, you can't do this. Okay, excuse me. How would we act if we lost what would be, by population extrapolated out, 40,000 Americans in a day?
So,
dude, I love how, I mean, the Israel stuff since October 7 has been devastating, but it has been pretty revealing because so many of these edgy accounts that love Donald Trump were still unconditional dick riders of Israel. They kept trying to be edgy while defending Israel, and it just doesn't work. And it's the same for these guys. These guys are like, America first, America first. Meanwhile, it seems it seems people being like, oh, actually, Israel first, America is maybe second. Who knows? How dare Biden even remotely criticize Israel? Ridiculous.
So, number one, they have to finish the job. Israel has to finish that job. They have to finish it quickly, strongly, and they have to get back to life again because it's taking too long. They have to finish the job.
You're saying go in, win, and finish.
You gotta win. Gotta win.
Interesting. I thought he told Habib that he was gonna end it.
The attack on October 7th, and it's getting more and more demeaned. They're demeaning it. I have people now telling me they don't think the attack ever happened. And take a look. You watch the news reports
I have the
where
50
people that
minutes
are
of video.
protesting. Sure, I know you do, and so do I. But here's the thing. You watch these people on television.
Bro, there is literally no difference between him and Biden on this, okay? Which, by the way, significantly worse for Biden, in my opinion, because the expectation is that Trump is going to be this fucking fascist asshole. So the fact that him and Brandon are completely aligned on this issue is insane. Like, absolutely insane. They're so aligned on this issue that they're having a hard time being like, what would you do different than Biden? What would you do different than Biden in this situation? I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't get mad at Israel ever. I would say you're doing great. Go forward into Rafah. Okay, Brandon on accident was like, we'll do a red line. He hasn't necessarily actually enforced the red line. So fundamentally, there is no difference.